What you're about to see here is as real as it gets. This is helmet cam footage for one of Israel's elite special operations unit, the Mista'arvim unit. This is the same unit that I served in the IDF. You're going to see them taking down an armed terrorist here in the West Bank. Let me make this very clear. This isn't Hollywood. I would know. I was one of Keanu's instructors for the John Wick franchise. This is counterterrorism special operations at the highest level, and it's why these men are some of the most feared operators in the world. Stick with me as I break down how they neutralized this threat, dismantled an explosives lab, and protected countless innocent lives with this operation. So this operation took place in a part of the West Bank that I'm very familiar with called Mithaloon, and it's a village in the Menashe Regional Brigade area of Judea and Samaria. A coordinated effort between the IDF, the Shin Bet, or the Sherut HaBitachon HaKlali, which is Israel's internal intelligence unit, and the border police undercover unit known as the Yamas, or the Yechidah Mista'arvim. Fabulous unit. And for those unfamiliar with the Yamas, I did an earlier episode on them. They're one of Israel's most elite special operations forces. They specialize in undercover missions in hostile environments, often disguised as locals to blend in. I talk about that in my memoir, Brotherhood of Warriors. Grab a copy. I was in the IDF's version of that unit. So their target, a known armed terrorist wanted for planning terror attacks against Israeli civilians as well as security forces. And intelligence, from what I'm hearing, had revealed that not only was he armed and dangerous, but he was also running an explosives lab out of his home in this village. I'm talking a literal ticking time bomb here, literally. And so the mission orders here were very clear. Locate the terrorist, arrest him. If you can't arrest him, neutralize the threat and destroy the explosive lab before it could be used to carry out another deadly wave of terror attacks. So this wasn't just about eliminating the terrorists. This was about protecting innocent Israeli lives, Jewish, Muslim, Druze, and preventing an imminent tragedy. And that's how we do it in Israel. We got to get in front of these attacks before they can actualize. That's how you fight terrorism. We don't care about the investigation afterwards. We want to get ahead of the attacks. So here's where it gets pretty tense. As you can see from the helmet cam footage, the terrorist attempts to flee as the Hamas team moves in. But fleeing wasn't an option here, clearly. Not against these operators in this unit. There's no way. And they train for moments exactly like this. And I'm going to get into this. Let's talk tactical. Watch how the team maintains extremely tight communications here and perfect positioning. The operator on point neutralizes the threat very precisely, very fast, declaring in Hebrew, terrorist neutralized. He says, a mechabel nafal in Hebrew. And this isn't just protocol. It's a signal to the team that the immediate danger has been eliminated, allowing them to now shift focus to the next objective. So there's a ton of communication that's going on. In the real operations, you're chattering a ton so everybody knows what's happening in real time. And so once the terrorist was down, the team then located and secured the weapons inside the home, including rifles, ammunition, and then they found the explosives lab, a sophisticated setup intended for large-scale terror attacks. And instead of dismantling it piece by piece, they did what Israel does best and has learned over the years. Destroy it on the spot to ensure it can never be used again. Now, I want to get even a little deeper and micro focus on the tactical side here, because there's a lot of very interesting things that I see which bring me back to my IDF days. I want you to watch the speed of the operator as he engages the terrorist threat. This isn't random. This is what we call in Hebrew matachim, or continuous firing. And it's part of a behavioral-based shooting system developed in Israel after years of combating terrorism. I want to talk about some of the history. Back in the 70s, the Israeli military and police partnered with their top behavioral scientists to create the first ever close quarters battle, or CQB method, grounded in human physiology. They ended up studying thousands of real-world operations and call-outs involving shootouts, hostage rescues, looking at how the operators naturally responded under extreme stress. The reason why is they wanted to figure out a better way to be able to build their fighting system for terrorism. And what they found was pretty groundbreaking. In high-stress environments, your body undergoes a massive chemical dump into that bloodstream, releasing epinephrine, norepinephrine, cortisol, obviously adrenaline. And these chemicals, they found, would override the traditional training and sighted firing. And what happens is they forced you into these instinctive behaviors. What happens is you end up squaring up on the threat, completely non-sighted rapid firing, and focusing entirely on the threat through binocular dominance is what it's called. And that means that instead of fighting these instincts, Israel leaned into the science. And so they built a tactical doctrine around these findings, which became known as behavioral-based CQB, or what we call in my unit and in the Hamas as pressure cooker CQB, or sir lachatz. So one, you had instinctive point shooting. That's non-sighted, threat-focused firing that works with your body's natural response. Two, rapid cluster firing, what you're seeing here in this video, and the compulsive continuous firing you naturally do under stress until the threat is neutralized is just what happens. And then three, they found and leaned into what was called limited penetration room clearing, which is instead of running into rooms, they found that you would actually go to cover immediately before making an entry and end up actually firing from outside the room or the threshold. But I'm going to cover that in a different episode. I want to focus right now on that matachim, or continuous rapid point shooting. Hey, are you guys a fan of the Aaron Cohen Show? You guys a fan of my work on the news? Do me a favor, help support the show and grab yourself a mini sponsorship package and join my season 1 sponsorship team. Hit the link down in the description. Grab yourself a mini sponsorship package. They start at $25. Helps keep the lights on in the studio. We're fully independently produced and helps me to continue combating that garbage anti-Israel misinformation while bringing you guys cutting-edge analysis of the Mideast, counterterrorism, Israeli special operations, and U.S. national security. Hit the link down in the description to help support the show and join my season 1 sponsorship team. Appreciate you guys. This is a system that I've been teaching to SWAT teams and law enforcement across the country for over 20 years now. I serve as a reservist with a sheriff's department, and I serve on their SWAT team and in their training section. And one of my main businesses is training law enforcement. And so I can tell you that these tactics aren't just theories that I teach. They're battle tested in some of the most dangerous environments on earth, as you can see here from this video. Now, I'm not saying that the way we do CQB in Israel is better than, let's say, the way Delta Force works or SEAL Team 6. It's just different. And this is a system that we built based on what we found from our operations. So, Aaron, why does this all matter? Because operations like these save lives. And every weapon seized and every explosive lab destroyed is one less terror attack on Israeli soil. And these missions, they also send a message to those who plan to harm civilians and try and kill Israeli civilians. There's nowhere to hide. And this is the reality of Israel's fight against terrorism. It's relentless, it's dangerous, but it's very necessary. And it also sets the standards for how urban terrorism can start to get looked at worldwide. And nations around the world are starting to adopt a lot of these same tactics for active shooter and high threat situations. As I mentioned, I've been training agencies for a long time. But before I wrap this one up, I want to give a shout out to the brave officers of the Hamas. I know you guys are going to watch this one. The IDF, the Shin Bet, all you guys for your unwavering commitment to keeping Israel safe. Your work on my show will never go unnoticed. And it's because of these men and women in Israel, in the Border Patrol, in the Shin Bet, that Israel's able to defend itself. And if you want more insights and breakdowns like this, make sure you guys subscribe to the show. Do me a favor, hit the like button, share the episode, and stay tuned for more of these frontline stories that you're not going to get analysis on quite like this anywhere else. And I'm always going to be diving deep into this really good nectar regarding the Israeli Special Forces and bringing you guys that inside analysis. I'm going to come back to these. There's going to be more of them. There's a ton of work going on in Israel from what I'm hearing from my associates throughout all the special operations units. There's so much work. Nobody's getting any time off right now. But hey, like we say in Hebrew, אנחנו משלמים ביוקר שיהיה לנו מדינת יהודי. We pay a very high price to maintain a Jewish state. And everybody's doing a fantastic job. I want to thank you guys for watching this one. This episode, again, if you're a fan of the show, do me a favor, help support the show and become a Season 1 sponsor. Hit the link down in the description. Grab yourself a mini sponsorship package. They start at $25. We're completely independently produced here. Helps keep the lights on. It helps me to continue bringing you that no-nonsense analysis while fighting that garbage anti-Israel misinformation that's out there. Bringing you guys exclusive analysis of the Mideast, counterterrorism, Israeli special operations, and U.S. national security. Hit the link down in the description. Grab yourself a mini sponsorship package and join my Season 1 team and help to support the show. Appreciate you guys. I'm Aaron Cohen. You're watching The Aaron Cohen Show, and I will catch you guys shortly on the next one.